So I'm back after a brief hiatus. I went on holiday for a bit, but that's par for the course. But just like your parents returning from the seaside, I too am bringing you not a stick of rock, but this morning's front page of the Daily Mail. I don't know if you can see that there. Now, we're not talking about Prince George, we're talking about this. It's, as EU insults the British people yet again, don't treat us with contempt. I can't tell you how far that actually is from the truth, but this is the Daily Mail comment. The European Commission are behaving like fools. The more they treat the British people with such arrogant contempt, the more they will harden the resolve of the majority who voted for Brexit, and we suspect an increasing number of Remainers. That in itself is an absolutely hilarious comment. However, what they are referring to is Jean-Claude Juncker's quite rightful insults on David Davis. David Davis is absolutely awful. He is not the type of negotiator we need. In fact, if you were to say who you should replace him with, I genuinely don't know who you should replace him with. And even if you voted to leave, then you'd want someone who was competent. Quite frankly, this man is not up to the task to deliver any sort of Brexit other than an absolute disaster. And the first thing the government actually needs to do is it needs to admit it fucked up. There was no plan, that this is just, done on a back of a fag packet and just hoped for the best. That is not what we need. Our economy has gone from being the third fastest growing in Europe to the last. A sign of things to come. As I've said multiple times, there are many videos on this subject. This will soon come to, the lies of the Leave camp will soon come to hatch, and people are going to realise that they were lied to, and that it is not this glorious, bright future outside the EU that they were told was there. However, we're also coming on to this, because this is what was predicted by in the book Brexit, What the Hell Happens Now. It basically said that the papers would start to blame the EU if things started to go bad during negotiations, which they have. And the prime example is this week you had David Davis come out and say, Brexit's not going to be as easy to negotiate as I thought it was. When only a couple of months ago, Brexit, it's going to be easy. Well, everyone was saying to him right from the start, every single expert was saying this is not going to be an easy process. Remember, you're looking at about 9 months to negotiate something as simple as pet passports. Yes, pet passports will take about 9 months to negotiate, as long as the myriad of other things that are out there. However, the Daily Mail's comment on this is absolutely ridiculous, because here's the thing. One of the things that is pissing off David Davis and the other people in the British government is the fact that apparently the EU are leaking all this negotiation that they're having. They're not leaking it, they're just releasing it, as they would do with any other negotiation that they would do, because there is oversight. Remember, they're negotiating on behalf of 26 other countries. They're going to release the information. This is not going to be kept private, however much the British government would like to keep it a secret that they are up a creek without a paddle. But the fact that they are trying to turn it on, that Europe is somehow treating us like fools and idiots, is just absolutely not. They're treating David Davis like a fool because, quite frankly, he's acting as a fool. What Jean-Claude Juncker said about him, that he's acting in an unrealistic manner and has absolutely no accountability for what he's doing, is is completely right. And the fact that they can go, and we suspect that an increasing number of Remainers are angry at Europe. No, we're not angry at Europe. We're angry at the government. Because that is who you should be angry about. All this time that you've supposedly been angry at Europe for some imagined slight, you should have been angry at the government, because they're the ones who are in control, not the EU. As we said numerous times leading up to the, the referendum and afterwards, and even the government themselves said afterwards, they even said that Parliament was the final sovereignty body in the UK. But the Leavers were basically saying that's not the case. Europe has sovereignty over us. That was not the case. The British government even said that was not the case. But now you're having all these papers that campaigned hard. The Daily Mail, the Express has been the worst of them. There have been some papers that front page of the Express I've seen that have been hilarious. The Telegraph as well, all campaigned hard for Brexit and said that it's going to be a wonderful idea. Well, now we're a year out from the referendum. The reality is starting to kick in. Things are basically going up in a fire. David Davis is the picture of the dog, literally sitting there thinking, this is fine. So what do the papers have to do? Well, they have to now convince the public that it's not the government, it's not David Davis at fault, it's the EU that's at fault here, which is the game that they always play. And even after Brexit, remember, after March 2019, they can no longer blame Europe for anything, but they will continuously blame Europe for any and everything they can. Anything that's going wrong in Europe, in Britain, they will blame the EU. That is not the case. It was never ever the case even before that. It was the government that was always at fault. But it was a convenient scapegoat and a convenient excuse. And that's landed us basically where we are today, unfortunately. So, as for who should be negotiating for us, I don't know. But it certainly should be something like, Jacob Rees-Mogg. Certainly nowhere near anywhere like him. And he should never ever be given a cabinet position. That's why Theresa May laughed when someone asked if he should be given a cabinet position. But there you go. This is the wonderful mess that the Leavers got us into. So as far as I'm concerned, it's your mess to sort out. We wanted to stay. We had, I want to stay. I voted to stay. It's not my fault that this mess is happening.